So, thank you for joining me in this video. I just opened up all of my curriculum and I have concluded that is way too much information to cover in one video. So my attempt was to do an unboxing, but it's going to be a semi-unboxing because you guys don't really need to see me opening up the boxes. I can show you a picture of all the boxes if you want to, but it's just too much to go through in one video, so I'm going to break them up subject by subject. So I said, well, I didn't say, this is the first year that I am getting all of my curriculum, all the subjects from one company, and the company that I chose was Abeka. Why Abeka? Because we have done Abeka in the past for language, and I never changed it, so I wanted to try out how things flow. It was just going to be an easier situation for me in my mind. Now, the first thing I did wrong with my ordering, I did check off everything that I purchased. For whatever reason, I ordered 2 grade 1 math. I only have one child that is in grade 1, so I don't know why I bought that, but I need to return it. Hopefully the Abeka return process is not a difficult one. So I'm going to show you what, even though I have everything laid out. In this video, I'm going to show you the language portion, the grade 6 language for Abeka. So what I have here are 2 language workbooks for 2 children, obviously. 2 quiz and text workbooks. Oh, there it is. For their language. And what I have is my language curriculum for grade 6. This is where all the lessons are. This is the answer key for their workbook. And this is the answer key for the tests and quizzes. So let me quickly go and find Abeka. What I like about Abeka, which they have in all of their language, because language is all I've done with, Abeka is the only language that I've ever done. They give you these, it has the table of contents. Obviously, you can't see that. I don't think you can see that. But they give you a sample schedule. Right there. A sample schedule of not just language, but all of the subjects. And it gives you a good idea of how much time certain things should take or would take, and when you can finish. So it starts at 8:15 a.m. Again, this is a sample, and you have your Bible, your devotion, your family devotion, or your school devotion, and they have that there for about a half hour. You start with, what is it called? You start with language at 8:45. Your school day starts at 8:45. You break for lunch around 11:45, 12 o'clock, and you pretty much are finished school by 1. Now, we know, if we do know, homeschoolers, stay-at-home moms, things like that, you have so much things going on, especially if you're doing school with several different grade levels. This is not going to look clear-cut, but it does say this is their sample schedule for combination grade schedules. It looks like a school schedule, right? You had math for 45 minutes, then you moved on to the next thing. It's just not always going to be like that, because there's some concepts that can go like this, and you can finish the lesson in, say, half an hour, as opposed to the 45 minutes, or 20 minutes as opposed to the 30 minutes, whatever it is. And there's some things where the child is not getting it, and you may persevere that particular subject before you move on to the next one. Or someone may have a stomach ache and be in the bathroom for a half hour. I don't know. Needless to say, it's nice to have the idea of a schedule, but you can't hold too closely to a schedule because life happens. So the only thing else that I'm gonna go through is the scope and sequence, if I can find that. All right, scope and sequence. The scope and sequence is pretty much all that the book goes over. I am not going to tell you all that the book goes over, but I will give you a general idea. They start with recognizing complete sentences versus fragments, 4 types of sentences, the different types of sentences, subjects, predicates, subjects and verbs, diagramming sentences, diagramming compound subject and verbs. And usually with Abeka, they're reviewing a bunch of stuff that they have already done, and I had to learn this going through their curriculum. I don't know if any other curriculum is the same, but you spend a lot of time reviewing and going more into depth and pretty much just tapping into their last year memory of certain things. So the beginning of the year usually should, if they learned anything from the year before, go fairly smoothly, because they're just kind of remembering and taking it up a notch. They start creative writing in lesson 14. Creative persons, qualities, creating, observing, sensing details, creating, writing, creating a journal. Capitalizing proper nouns, capitalizations. Then we go into punctuations, apostrophes, contractions, writing dialogue, quotation marks, go down, action verbs, state of being, helping verbs, linking verbs, verb forms. Let's go. Usually they have 170 lessons, and yes, they have 170 lessons here. So we are about halfway through, and we are at proper nouns, subject verb agreement, noun and predicate nominatives, nouns of direct address, creative writing in lesson 102 to 107, recognizing pronouns, demonstrative, interrogative pronouns, creative writing in lesson 134 to 142, writing friendly letters, creating comparison, writing about an emotion, 143 to 158, identifying adverbs, diagramming adverbs. You know, this is, if you did Abeka grade 5, it's very similar. Very, very similar. Now, the only difference is that I don't see, which I am grateful for at least, I don't see a research paper. In grade 5 Abeka, they start teaching them about researching, doing a research paper, but I just see creative writing. So that is the kind of stuff that we have here in Abeka language 6. And the book, the workbook, is pretty much the same as, you know, every, what is it called? Every lesson does not do the same amount of pages inside of the book, but in the curriculum, they do give you, tell you, of course, what pages the child needs to do that particular day. The book is colorful. It is not black and white. I know some people, you know, some children need that, but it is colorful. I know every year, my children are bound to find something in here to laugh at. I don't know if it's just my children or the fact that they're just entertained by this, but needless to say, it's, yeah. And one thing also about Abeka is that, say you're doing lesson 50 and you have to do pages 35 to 37 in their workbook, they're going to have you doing some things for lesson 50, but they may sneak in something from lesson 49 or 48, if that makes sense. So you're not just leaving it there that day. It's all gonna kind of build up or be revisited as the time goes on. So that is that And like I said, there are 170 lessons in the language. And how many tests are there? There are 10 tests in the book, in the test booklet. And I'm going to tell you how many quizzes there are. There are 12 quizzes, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. 10 tests and 15 quizzes. So 10 tests and 15 quizzes. The quizzes usually are done within a lesson. So they may say the quiz needs to be done in the beginning of the lesson or something. But the tests are usually a lesson in and of themselves. So out of that 170 lessons, 10 of those are going to be a test. And that's pretty much it for the language. That's how it worked in every grade level that I've done before, and it's pretty much the same. I'll show you an example. Lesson 133, it's just a test. You have lesson 134, 135, but for lesson 133, it's just that test, and that's it. So I will say one more thing before I end this video. This language book is also the reading curriculum and also the spelling and vocabulary and poetry curriculum, all in this one book. They also have, yes, the spelling, and I think it said something about creative writing. There's penmanship, if you're doing penmanship for them in here. I think there are books for that. It's not something that you can just do in here. I'm not sure. I wasn't thinking penmanship for us this year, but I'll take a look at it. Spelling and reading and language. So that's it for the Abeka 6th grade language arts curriculum. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll try and answer them to the best of my abilities. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. And if you are interested in the rest of the curriculum that I have for my school year this year, look out for the next video. All right, bye-bye.